Well, finally, I'm here, and I was really itching to talk about what James Gunn has announced and what are the hints that he has given, which promise us DC fans lots of good things to come. Just full disclosure, as I've said many times in my previous video, that I'm not a fan of his work, but what I do appreciate is his content strategy, especially when it comes to superheroes. James Gunn recently came out and he made his big announcement. The plan which he and Peter Safran have cooked up for the next 8 to 10 years for our favorite DC superheroes, as well as some characters from DC's imprints like Vertigo. Now, in that respect, there are some very good things that he has announced, which I am going to be talking about them. But more importantly, I would like you to stay tuned because there's something really big which hasn't been acknowledged or realized, or maybe somebody has noticed within the announcement that he has made for one of our favorite DC superhero. So first thing is that we now finally, after years of frustration with the first Green Lantern movie, we saw that there is a plan for an HBO Max series that's going to be featuring not just one of our favorite Green Lantern, but two, namely Hal Jordan and John Stewart. Now, is this series going to be opening up to include other characters, other favorite Green Lanterns, like the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, or Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, so many more? What is it going to be doing about Sinestro? Because this is a villain that I believe has not been given his due share of exposure as much as the Joker has received. And we know why Joker, but nevertheless, Green Lantern is a very important character, a founding member of the Justice League. No, it wasn't Superman or Batman. One major thing that he has done, which I will be appreciating him, that this was long overdue. DC Universe or DC Extended Universe wasn't interconnected. Interconnected in the sense that you had the movies that were heading in one direction, and then you had the TV series that were going in altogether different direction, including the cast. Grant Gustin Flash, and then we have Ezra Miller, we have Stephen Amell as Green Arrow, and unfortunately there was no such thing, no such project that would involve Green Arrow over there. So many other characters were introduced in the CW DC series, and in that respect, those characters are some of the best characters, some of the most loved characters. Brandon Routh, who once was Superman in Superman Returns, he would be Dr. Ray Palmer or Atom for that matter. Now, these are all the characters that formed the foundation of DC Universe, whether we are talking about comics or whether we are talking about movies. And with respect to movies and the TV series, they need the right amount of exposure. They needed the right amount of, how should I say, presence within the major storylines. But what has happened. Too much politics going on in Warner Brothers Studios, what the studio executives like Walter Hamada had done with Zack Snyder. Things just went really out of control, and I think this has been the best thing ever, that now everything is going to be coming to a conclusion with the Flash movie, where the DC Extended Universe, majority of it is going to get reset, and then we are going to be heading into the new DCU, as James Gunn keeps on referring to it, and rightly so. But the biggest announcement pertains to our favorite character from the Batman family. But his name wasn't announced. The only thing was that the story was referenced. Yes, here I am referring to James Gunn talking about the Batman movie, which is going to be based on Brave and the Bold storyline by Grant Morrison. Now, for those of us who have read this, we all know that this Brave and the Bold storyline is about Bruce Wayne, presumed dead, and Dick Grayson taking up the mantle of the Batman instead of Nightwing, and he teams up with Damian Wayne. Now, Dick Grayson we haven't seen him since the 90s. Dick Grayson needs to be part of the upcoming movie projects, whether it's a standalone Nightwing movie, whether it is going to be a Teen Titans or a Titans series, whichever might be the case, but he deserves a spot in the movies as well. And I think if any one of us who really knows Batman and who really knows the stories that were done by Grant Morrison, I think this is the best news that has come out of it. I'm not going to say that other announcements that were made by James Gunn are not as important. No, they are, because we are going to be witnessing the origins of Wonder Woman and the island of Themyscira and how Wonder Woman came about, rather than just flashbacks that we would see in the movie. It is going to be providing a much more in-depth look about the politics of Themyscira. How did it come about with all the Greek gods and everything? And then the Swamp Thing. I mean, these are all really great ones. But the thing was that all of these were announced, they were named, they were mentioned. But the biggest unmentioned announcement happens to be about Dick Grayson. And I am really optimistic about the fact that we are going to be seeing Dick Grayson be part of Batman movie franchise, not like what happened in the 90s, where we had Chris O'Donnell, a great actor, and he looked like a great Robin, but unfortunately he was not utilized the way he was supposed to be. So that is it. As far as I'm concerned, because I myself am a content creator, I realize that the approach which James Gunn and Peter Safran have come up with, it's a much better approach. And having seen James Gunn's work for Suicide Squad movie as well as his Marvel work, it really gives me a sigh of relief that the icon Superman, whose movie is going to be about his early years, if you will, in Smallville rather than the origin. This is going to be taking a deep dive. The 12 stages of Hercules, which were basically touched upon by Grant Morrison in All Star Superman. This is a breath of fresh air, if you will. It is one of the best stories ever written for Superman, and I think it's long overdue. Having Grant Morrison's Batman and Superman serving as the point of reference for these movies is something which shows that there is a lot of interesting, exciting stuff heading our way. And as I've said about Wonder Woman, I've also mentioned about Green Lantern. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, because these are my first favorite characters, I was a bit sad that they didn't announce anything pertaining to Martian Manhunter. But obviously, this is the first announcement. This is not the last announcement. So we might be seeing some exciting new stuff, some exciting new projects that are going to be announced for other DC characters. Because by the end of the day, the Flash movie of Ezra Miller, it's not going to end over there. After the reset, what happens, what doesn't. James Gunn was kind enough to clarify that not all elements of DC extended universe are going to get reset after the Flash movie. But most importantly, you can tell the excitement amongst fans that when James Gunn mentions the storylines, whether it's Supergirl's The Woman of Tomorrow, or whether he's talking about The Authority, or whether he's talking about All-Star Superman and Batman Brave and the Bold, the sales have surged for these books. Because by the end of the day, it is the books that have made these stories that will be making these movies possible. Frank Miller's work served as an inspiration, served as a point of reference for Christopher Nolan's work, and now we're going to be seeing Grant Morrison. And at the same time, the clarification of these movies like The Batman and Joker starring Joaquin Phoenix, these are Elseworld projects. So DC is finally coming back with a bang. And I am very hopeful that they are going to be giving Marvel a run for their money, because Marvel has been taking its fans very casually. They don't care. They are just pushing in a minority's agenda onto the majority. Its movies are not about superheroes. Movies are just about silly stuff, with the exception of few series. this is something that we need to follow bit by bit, scene by scene, minute by minute. So for more information, you can head straight to my channel. Make sure to subscribe, share this video, and also if you guys are requiring special content, make sure to subscribe to my membership on my YouTube channel, and I am going to be producing a content that's going to be exclusively for the members of my channel. Thank you so much, and see you guys soon.